Hello friends, and welcome back to Honey Acres Homestead. Now it's the middle of January, so how are you doing on your New Year's resolutions? I know for me, the new year is like a giant Monday. Monday being the day of the week where you can think about the things that you want to accomplish during that week, the things that you want to do better that week. It's a fresh start, a new chance, and the new year is like one giant Monday. Things that maybe we didn't get around to doing this last year, maybe some goals that we didn't quite accomplish, we can get geared up to get those done this year, to make those new plans and those new exciting goals, and just have that surge of optimism that this year we can do it. So although we don't necessarily have resolutions here for the homestead, we do have some goals and some plans going into 2022 that we would like to accomplish. And I thought I'd just spend a few minutes to share those goals with you. Now, our first goal here on Honey Acres Homestead is a very obvious one, and that is to raise a lot of food this year. And it's obvious because we wouldn't be doing all the things that we're doing here on the homestead if it wasn't for us wanting to grow food. So what has happened is we've been here for a year and a half, but we've had to spend so much time and energy and resources on building the homestead, building the infrastructure, knocking trees down so we have a place to put our goats, and building chicken coops and establishing a garden space when there was none. So we've been able to establish a lot of these things during the last year and a half that we've been here, and we've been able to reap some benefit from these things, but not nearly as much, not nearly the potential that is there, especially when it comes to our garden. So this year, we really hope to be able to realize these benefits of these things, this time and this development of this land, and have it start to bring more food into the house and things to our table. So that is our goal this year, is to feed ourselves more from our property. But a secondary goal that's very similar is we also want to start growing food for our food. And what I mean by that is we feed our animals with feed from the feed store. And that can get expensive, and it's just not quite that self-sufficient when you have to buy 100% of your animal's food. So what we've been talking about and discussing and making plans for is how can we grow some of our animals' food here on our own homestead, especially when it comes to the chickens, maybe even for the pigs, and perhaps even the goats. What can we do here on our own homestead to chip away at that monthly feed bill and start becoming a little bit more self-sufficient when it comes to feeding our animals? So first goal, food, food, food. We want to start producing much more food. Our second goal here on our homestead is really more of a big project that we look forward to finishing. Now we are on our third and final barn site. First we thought we were going to put it on one side of our property, then we had an area on the back side of our property cleared. Neither of these really ended up making a whole lot of sense. This last area that we had cleared, we decided this would be a great place to grow corn and some other crops. So that's what we're gonna do back there. And we have just broken ground on our last and final barn site. We just started it this last week, and that is the goal that we would like to accomplish this year. And hopefully in the beginning of this year is a nice barn for our goats. Now, we're in winter time right now, and I don't know if you can see behind me, but it's cold and it's snowing, and taking care of animals in the winter time is really not fun, and it's especially not fun when you don't have a barn. So what that means for us is the hose gets frozen at nighttime. We wait until late morning when it starts to thaw out. fill up several buckets and then just hoof them around the property to give all of our animals water. This goes with hay as well, as we have to distribute the hay and all the little areas that we have the goats tucked away on our property. Once we have this barn, not only will the animals be comfier and cozier, it will allow us to really cut back on our effort and our time that we put into taking care of them. It'll be wonderful when we have a water line run right to the barn, when we have our hay stored right there to be able to give them their hay and their feed and their minerals. It'll be a wonderful thing, and we really look forward to that being completed, hopefully in the next couple months. Now, since it is the middle of January and we're all looking at February here soon, which is the worst time of the year, historically speaking, I'm not thinking that this barn's gonna come together very quickly, but we are thinking that within a couple months here, 2-3 months, we might be able to have a barn that we could start using. Now, our third goal that we are talking about here in our homestead is taking a really hard look at the animals that we have here and trying to decide which animals are beneficial to our homestead and really worth the time, the money, the effort that goes into caring for them and raising them. We have lots of animals here. Last time I counted, we had 41 goats. We have alpacas and pigs and quail and chickens. It's a lot of animals to feed. It's a lot of animals to take care of, and even it's a lot of animals to try to get things from. There's the milking, there's the eggs, there's the meat from the chickens and the quail. So we find ourselves doing a lot of things and feeding a lot of animals, but we decided it's time to look at the books. Which animals are worth it and which animals maybe are not as worth it. Maybe there's some animals that it would be better off if we didn't raise those animals anymore. So we have started to look at that, and we've actually sold off some of our goats just recently to start to get our goat population down to where we think it should be. So that is our third goal. Our fourth goal that I'm going to share with you, and our final goal, is really one of my goals that I think about a lot, and that's just to get our homestead looking beautiful. We've been here for a long time. It's been a lot of work. I've noticed that building a homestead or working the land or building anything, it's not a very pretty and glamorous process. It is most definitely exciting, especially as you see things change and develop over time. But it's not pretty. It's a bunch of trees getting knocked down and piled up and burned and mud and lots of mud and more mud. And we've been working on several of these things for a long time, and we're just ready to start seeing the final product. Things looking done, things looking completed and beautiful and ready for us to enjoy them and utilize them. So I'm hoping that by the middle of summertime, it'll be about 2 years of us being here and working on this property here. And I'm hoping by that time we can really see things completed, things beautiful, and being able to just kind of sit back and enjoy some of those things and have friends over to show them our farm and our animals and just spend time with people in a nice, pretty, and beautiful atmosphere. So that's one of my goals, is just to have things kind of getting wrapped up by the end of summer. So those are our goals here at Honey Acres Homestead. And I'm sure that you have some goals that you've at least thought of that you would like to get done this year. I hope so anyway. I know for me, I always need to have goals, things that I want to get better at, new things I want to try. There's always things to learn and things to do. I hope that on your list that you want to grow some of your own food this year, even if you've never done it before. This is the time of year to start considering that. When it's cold and icky outside, it's time to start looking at seeds and thinking about things that you would enjoy growing, and maybe even planting a raised bed in your backyard, or looking at plants that you can grow in a pot on your patio. There's so many different ways to grow your own food, and I hope that that's something that you're gonna do this year. It's always good to be a little bit more self-sufficient, and it's such a rewarding thing to be able to put a seed in and then eventually bring food to your table. So, as always here at Honey Acres Homestead, we are seeking to be self-sufficient, yet fully reliant on the Lord. Thank you for spending time with me here, and I'll see you next time.